Should marijuana be legalized in the U.S.? Answer, yes. While there are many benefits to legalizing marijuana, but its effects on the youth and the general population in the U.S. should still be acknowledged, and its negative effects should be taken into account. Now for a brief timeline. In 1914, the Harrison Narcotics Act is established, which is the first law that prohibits any form of drug. Later in 1930, the Narcotics Bureau is established, which its sole purpose is to enforce this law. In 1937, the first marijuana law is passed, which is the Marijuana Tax Act, which heavily taxes marijuana, similar to how cigarettes are taxed today. In 1951, the Boggs Act is established, which establishes stringent prison sentences for violations of the previous drug laws. In 1970, marijuana becomes a Schedule I drug, which legally makes it one of the most dangerous drugs to possess and holds the highest punishments for possession. In 1971, Nixon declares the war on drugs, in which he declares that drugs are public enemy number one. In 1973, the Drug Enforcement Administration is established, or the DEA, and whose job is to enforce all the previous drug laws. And in 1986, the Anti-Drug Abuse Act is passed, which is the most stringent prison sentences yet for simple possession of drugs. Fast forward to today, several states are legalizing marijuana all throughout the U.S. And so why should we legalize marijuana? Well, this question will be answered through three lenses: the scientific lens, the economic lens, and the social lens. Now on to Kate with the scientific lens.
Marijuana is a greenish-gray mixture from the dried flower of the cannabis sativa. It is the psychoactive drug native to Central and Southern Asia. There are several ways to consume this drug, including brewing it into teas, putting it into resins, oils, and foods, and also in medical devices like pills or things like that. Marijuana has been shown to relieve chronic pain and is widely accepted for its safety. Several types of marijuana are used, but CBD, or cannabinoid oil, is a psychoactive cannabinoid that does not contain the active addictive ingredient THC. Additionally, there are many benefits to CBD, as it can relieve insomnia, loss of appetite associated with HIV or AIDS, and reduce side effects of epilepsy, which can be life-threatening. Marijuana has many neurological benefits as well that make it widely approved. According to the National Library of Medicine, medical cannabis is used to help patients with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. A study conducted with several men and women with PTSD used CBD to help them with their sleep. The study found that overall sleep quality, and sleep duration was significantly improved. Overall, this study found that the total PTSD symptoms score and its subdomains, including intrusiveness, avoidance, and lauterness, showed improvement. This condition affects around 13 million people in the world and 4% of Americans. This shows, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, this shows that this relief for this many people is crucial. Additionally, a study conducted found that THC can prevent neurological degenerate process and cognitive decline in animals with Alzheimer's. In the future, this can later translate to human life. Different aspects of marijuana, like CBD and THC, are used to help with neurological and chronic illnesses. Now to this economic lens.
Legalization of marijuana has numerous positive impacts on the U.S., especially to the economy of the nation. The U.S. marijuana business is an $113 billion annual business that causes taxpayers $31.1 billion in lost tax revenue. This lost tax revenue comes from government regulation, which affects how marijuana can be used and how it's policed. Incarceration due to marijuana regulation is a significant portion of these lost tax dollars. 1 out of every 8 prisoners are imprisoned for not abiding cannabis laws, and most of these are just for simple possession. According to the economics of marijuana legalization, the U.S. could save $10.7 billion from annual criminal justice expenditures if marijuana arrests were stopped. States bordering Mexico tend to have higher crime rates and have found that legalization of cannabis in these states have tied to decreasing in violent crime rates. Drops in incarceration rates due to less crime directly affects the economy. Legalization would not stop arrests for possession of the drug, but would also decrease arrests for other crimes, saving states millions in criminal justice expenditures. Tobacco and alcohol provide revenue to the U.S. because the government can set tax on each sale. Illegal importation of cannabis leads to illegal sale, which means the U.S. gets $0 tax dollars out of the sale. Bill Fay found that taxing pot at rates comparable to tobacco and alcohol can raise up to $13.9 billion in annual savings in income. When the sale of recreational marijuana was illegal in California, it was the biggest cash inflow of the state, coming in at an estimated $14 billion, none of which supported the state's economy. Now that the state has legalized the drug, $1.3 billion comes in each year from tax alone. This is on top of the $105 million in revenue from medical marijuana sales tax. National legalization could bring in billions of tax dollars and should be pushed for in politics so our economy can benefit on the ongoing sale of cannabis. Now on to Tessa for the social lens.
When using the social lens, one reason why Americans may be apprehensive about the legalization of marijuana is the preconception that it's a gateway drug, or a drug that is not dangerously addictive itself but may lead to others that are. The University of Colorado Boulder challenged this idea in their study on twins. They studied 4,000 twins living in Colorado and Minnesota at a time where it was only legal in Colorado. According to research, Marshall 2023, the researchers found no change in illicit drug use after legalization. This solidifies the argument that marijuana is not a gateway drug and should not be illegal because of that concern. Additionally, the researchers also found no link between cannabis legalization and increases in cognitive, psychological, social, relationship, or financial problems. This data proves that there's no direct impact on social aspects of life after the legalization of marijuana. Another benefit of the legalization is the drop in crime rates. According to research Dragon et al. 2017, when comparing neighboring states, Washington and Oregon, they found a 30% drop in rape and a 20% drop in theft after the legalization. Additionally, it decreases usage of other drugs and drops the binge drinking rates of alcohol substantially. Research also shows that the policy leads to the emergence of a legal market, which offers more safe and more reliable product quality. This means that safer options will be sold to those using cannabis products, decreasing deaths from laced marijuana. Overall, the legal marijuana market will increase safety in American communities by decreasing crime and ensuring the quality of cannabis products. While there are many benefits to legalization, it also poses a threat to the youth in America, and the negative effects should be acknowledged. According to Abuse 2020, one study links the drug's usage to dissatisfaction around life events. They found that within people from similar backgrounds, fewer of those who engaged in heavy cannabis use completed college, and more had a yearly income of less than $30,000. It also severely impacts youth mental health and increases the teen suicide attempts. This is a strong argument to keep the age restriction on legal marijuana and educate young people of the harms around it. In conclusion, while there are many benefits of legalizing marijuana, it also poses a threat to the youth in America, and the negative effects should be acknowledged.
Thank you. A couple of questions here. Oliver, give one specific way that your thinking changed as a result of learning about Tessa's findings.
From Tessa's findings, my thinking changed because I had not considered the effects that it would have on the different age groups, and with that, and maybe believe that having the strict age restrictions would be more beneficial than just legalizing it in general.
Okay, thank you. Kate, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem that your group identified?
Liv's lens helped me really understand the problem my lens focused on the individual and the effects on the body, but Liv really focused on the overall impact of the economy with like the increase in taxation and the revenue that would come from that. So that made me have a more well-rounded understanding of what legalizing marijuana would do.
Okay, thank you. Liv, if you had one more team member, what other perspective or limitation could they have researched that would have made a useful contribution to your project?
We thought that artistic lens would have a pretty useful approach to our presentation, because artistic really relates to society and how people in society think about legalizing the drug, and that would also influence people on how they vote to legalize the drug. So we thought that would be a very telling thing about who wants to have legalization in the U.S.
Okay, thank you. And then finally, Tessa, describe an argument from one of your peers' individual reports that made you think differently about your team's conclusion.
I think a lot of our group had very like pro-marijuana points in their arguments. So Oliver talking about like Nixon's war on drugs, where he says that drugs are the public enemy #1, really like brought in more to our like butt of our claim, and just like showed us that it's not all positive and beneficial for the country.
Okay. Thank you.